Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire is the new addition to the MonsterVerse, and this movie was disappointing. And I didn't go into it thinking it was going to be a masterpiece. I just wanted a dumb, fun popcorn movie that I could shut my brain off and watch these huge titans beat the living shit out of each other. And when we do get that in the movie's great. Like, there's literally a scene where King Kong and Godzilla are fighting, and Godzilla does a wrestling move on King Kong. And when I was watching that, I was like, did Godzilla just suplex Kong? That's awesome. But I just can't help but think that this movie could have been better, because even though these fight scenes are cool, this is nothing new. We've seen Godzilla and Kong fight each other in the previous movie, so it's just rehashing what we already like. But the only new thing that this movie has to offer to the MonsterVerse is Shimu and Scar King, and I totally feel like they underutilized these villains, because let's be honest, Shimu was a huge part of the internet hype going into this movie, and then when you watch the movie, you don't even get to see the villains till the very end of the movie. They baited us with them in the trailer, and then they just teased the fuck out of us throughout the entire movie, like blue balling us until the very end. Like, they could have done such a better job at introducing these villains. For example, at the beginning of the movie, we see Godzilla fight this massive spider crab-like monster with like a octopus face, and it's like this really cool battle, but this fight right here is meaningless because it serves no purpose in the story and it doesn't push the plot forward in any way. So it just ends up being this huge CGI fight that has no weight behind it and no value to the story. If you know anything about the UFC, what makes a big fight? A big fight is not anything to do with championships or how good the guys are at fighting. There are tons of talented fighters fighting every single weekend for a championship, but they're not big fights. You don't know about them, but you did watch Conor McGregor versus Khabib, or you did watch Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, because they were fighting about something. Conor McGregor was talking trash to Khabib's family and his religion and his country, so Khabib was fighting for his honor and his dignity. That's why it was a big fight. You see, you have to have meaning behind it, otherwise we're just wasting time on screen.
Here we go again.
And later on, Godzilla fights another titan, and it's the same BS. That titan serves no purpose in the story other than to give Godzilla his pink color. But other than that, it is just another CGI fest. And rather than having all of this in the movie, why didn't they just instead put scenes of Scar King taking over Hollow Earth, showing how badass he is and how threatening he is to other apes? Why didn't they put a scene of Shimu at the beginning of the movie, or better yet, Shimu fighting Godzilla, and maybe even beat him a little bit so we can see how much of a threat he is to our characters? But no, the way they introduce these characters is super lame, because they come way later in the movie when King Kong finds himself confronted with Scar King, and then you're like, okay, maybe Scar King is gonna look super intimidating, and then you see him and you're like, well, he's not more muscular than King Kong, and you're like, well, maybe he's much taller than him, and then you see him like, oh, well, maybe not. Well, that's okay, because muscle and size doesn't win fights all the time.
Leg again.
Maybe he's gonna beat up King Kong with a bunch of skills and fight moves, and then you see the fight and, oh, he doesn't even win! What is happening right now? Scar King has to literally get Shimu to fight King Kong, and then that's when he finally gets to be a little bit more intimidating and imposing. And even then, why should Godzilla be afraid of Shimu? Because you've been building up Godzilla as this unstoppable force of nature in this movie. I mean, he's literally one-shot killing kaiju titans. I mean, nothing is stopping him in this movie. So why should the audience fear for Godzilla's safety at all? Because we all know that King Kong is just gonna tag team Godzilla, so we know he's gonna be part of the fight. We're just supposed to be scared of him because he gave King Kong frostbite, and this frost breath kind of looks cool. I mean, that's pretty much it. So yeah, look, I was highly disappointed with the villains. I think they totally underutilized them. They could have done so much more in the movie. I wish they had more screen presence, more screen time, and just more epic battles, because this movie is at its best when the monsters are fighting. So I totally feel like they could have put them in a little bit earlier in the movie, and instead of having this stupid exposition dump. You guys know how I feel about exposition dump. That's the worst part of every movie. But they literally introduced the Scar King with some like story based off like hieroglyphics in a wall that they're looking at. Like, that's literally the background we get for Scar King. Like, that is such lazy writing. But let's move on to the second major flaw of this movie, which are the humans. How have studios not learned from their mistakes in the previous movies that we don't care about the humans? It's literally the worst part of every movie, time and time again, without fail. Why don't they understand that we just don't care?
All right, let me tell you, we don't care.
I don't think they understand what I mean when I say I don't want to see humans at all. I mean, I don't want to see humans at all. Like, literally start the movie with Godzilla and the monsters and only show the humans when they need to nuke something or evacuate a city, and that's it.
Oh, we need to bomb the monsters. It's not gonna work, but we must try. Okay.
and that's it. Or
The bomb did not work. Okay. Let's evacuate. Alarms.
like, do studios actually believe that we need to see talking and human characters in the movie to make up the runtime of the film? Because I'm telling you, we don't. You'd be surprised, but you could literally just have the monsters in the movie. Like, there's a great scene in this movie when King Kong is like interacting with his kind in Hollow Earth, and it's like a 10 to 20 minute scene. There's no dialogue, nobody talks in the scene, and it perfectly conveys the story and the message across. Like, nobody in the audience is stupid. We understand what's happening, and it's actually one of the most engaging scenes of the movie, and it's definitely more enjoyable than the scenes with these idiots in it, because none of them are interesting. And on top of that, we can all tell their generic purpose that they serve for the story, such as this guy being the comedic relief of the movie, or this guy who just comes in conveniently when the plot needs him to move things forward. Like, there's literally a scene, I kid you not, there is a scene in the movie where King Kong has frostbite, and then out of nowhere the guy's like, do you remember Project Powerhouse that the government cut funding to? And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, they were working on augmentation to make the Titans stronger. And you're literally, as soon as King Kong got hurt and he needs something to like help him in the story, this guy comes out of nowhere and comes with the Infinity Gauntlet in Hollow Earth. Like, oh, they deposited one before whatever. I mean, it is such lazy. I mean, to that point, it's just like insulting to the audience. Like, let's just make things up as we go. Like, it's improvising at this point. And I'm not gonna even attempt to dissect the story of the girl that can't talk and her people in Hollow Earth or wherever the they are. You can find someone else for that. Let's move on. Another thing I didn't appreciate is that they kind of relate this movie to the TV show Monarch, which I have seen. I have not finished it. I don't think I plan on finishing it. It wasn't the best, but it seems to have connections to that TV show, which kind of pisses me off, dude. I don't like this trend of like movies connecting to TV show. Disney Plus is doing it with their movies and shows, and I just don't like it at all, guys. Am I on an island by myself on this one? Because I am not a fan, dude. I don't like it. Stop it. Am I the only one that feels this way? If you want to watch a movie, you watch a movie. If you want to watch a TV show, watch a TV show. But keep them goddamn separate, please. It just gets a little bit too convoluted. Like, all I remember is that, yes, this organization was created called Monarch to keep the people safe from these titans in the world and study those monsters. And on top of that, they found some, like, portal. And that's about all you're going to get from me. Like, that's all I can remember off the top of my head. So let me know down in the comments below how this movie connects to the TV show. If there's something that I'm missing that would make it, like, do they explain how they got the Infinity Gauntlet down in Hollow Earth? Like, is that what the show is missing here? I swear when I was watching that scene, I was like, wait a minute, did I miss a scene? Did I like doze off or like space out? Because this makes no logical sense. What just happened? But besides that, I wish we got to see a little bit more of Godzilla, because Godzilla is just like a cameo in this movie. I mean, this is King Kong's show in the movie. It's totally his movie. And Godzilla appears every once in a while. I mean, he's really an afterthought in this movie, which is very sad because they baited us in the trailer, bro. How can you call it a Godzilla and a Kong movie and Godzilla's like in only 10 to 20% of the movie? Godzilla? King of the monsters? Nah, man, no way. Plus, I love Pink Godzilla. I love Pink Godzilla. I just wish we got a little bit more of Pink Godzilla. That's it. But look, all in all, this movie is super fun and entertaining when the monsters are fighting. Like when King Kong is punching the out of Godzilla, it kind of reminds me of Iron Man when he's punching the shit out of Hulk. But besides that, you have to admit they could have done way better with the villains. They could have totally got rid of the human characters because they just absolutely suck again. I mean, how many times does this have to happen for them to learn? And I don't like that they connected to the show, and I wish we got more Godzilla. Even though I love King Kong, that was one of my favorite movies growing up, I just feel a little bit deceived when you're calling it a Godzilla X Kong or Godzilla Cross Kong or whatever the this movie's called, and we only get snippets of Godzilla here and there. So it's like, you know what, I think it's better than Godzilla versus Kong. Well, actually, I don't know. They're pretty on par. But let me know down in the comments below if you enjoyed this movie and if you want me to rank the movies of the MonsterVerse, because I'm actually interested in doing that and I'd love to rank them. I have my opinions on all of them. But leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.